Eagles Talk, A2D Radio. We're doing our positional rankings, and we're kicking it off with none other than the QB position. We've got that. We've got Les coming on. Let's go.
You love the Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! You love the Philadelphia Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! Philadelphia!
Ladies and gentlemen, Eagles Talk, A2D Radio. We are brought to you by Brazio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention A2D for 10% off your in-store purchase. We are back. We took a week off from Memorial Day, and we are back on Monday nights with you. It's your boy Chuck's here. We've got Brinks, and we've got PY. What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
What up?
How was your Memorial Day, guys?
Stress free. I went home at like 4 o'clock.
Chilling.
Yeah. It was nice and relaxing. I visited my sister-in-law and her family. They live up in Central Jersey, so yeah, just nice, and it's good to have the week off. But we're getting into summer, guys, where there's no like football. There's no like football topics going on other than mandatory minicamp going on tomorrow, but like there's nothing else. So what do we usually do? I know Brinks, you weren't on with us with Birds of Feather.
It's list season.
And it's list season. Summer season is list season. So we're doing positional rankings, and we're going to do if you're watching now, guys, we have 2024 QB rankings up that we will get to. So that's what's going to
Chuck's is like, I'm going to bring Pete back just in time for list season.
Of course, it's
I'm the worst list person there is.
But
so
it's like
it's so much fun like to watch me like epic fail and everything.
In all honesty, everyone knows when it comes to rankings and lists, they're all irrelevant when it comes to football. But like they're fun. We do them for fun. And
I won't lie. My top 10 list leaving Aaron Rodgers out last season. Look, it got to the point.
Well, you lucked out. You lucked out because
that's not fair.
Life's not fair.
The first.
Well, he's a little less worried about football these days. I'm not worried.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he ends up on any of our lists. But let's get into it. So we've got our poll question, which we'll answer organically with our list. But to all of those watching, our poll question for tonight: Jalen Hurts will be a top 5 QB in 2024. Agree or disagree? Like I said, we're going to answer it organically. We're going to get right to it. We got Les coming on in about like 10 so minutes, so we'll have him on and he'll give us our opinions. But unlike years before, we're not going to do a slow trickle. We're going to just bang it out and give it all at you at once, and then we're going to have all the conversations to go off of that. So since Brinks, you're new to this,
yes,
and come to our list, I'm going to have you go first. All right. Okay. So I want you to go from, I'm going to list them. So I'm going to list them.
And this is solely on what I think is going to happen as of whatever it is, June, right? It's June right now, right? Finally.
Yeah. For 2024. This is like
2024 only. So let's just get that clear for the people. Because I have no rookies. I have no rookies on my list. I'm not projecting.
I know you're low on the rookie, so yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But yeah,
I just don't trust them.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, so go from 10 to 1. So read off your 10, and then
so number 10, I have Kyler Murray.
Okay. Kyler Murray. 9.
Jordan Love.
Okay. 8.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I pray. I have good friends that are Jets fans. I know this is an Eagles podcast, but can they just get it one?
No, because they're the goddamn Jets.
Oh my gosh!
There's a T-shirt and everything.
They're all Mets fans too.
Get into it later. Breaks. Who's your 7?
Joe Burrow.
That's 7.
All right. 6.
That's correct.
6.
Jared Goff.
Okay. 5.
C.J. Stroud.
Okay. 4.
Jalen Hurts.
Okay, we're getting there.
I'm a little surprised. 3.
Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
2.
Josh Allen is number 2.
And then I'm assuming 1 is
you're peeing in a cup after this.
Patrick Mahomes. If you don't have Patrick Mahomes first, your list is irrelevant.
All right. There was a few surprises on that list. Some good, some bad, like pleasant surprises. PY. All right, Mr. Your lists are usually like all over the place. Who's you got at 10?
Caleb Williams.
God. Okay. 9.
Josh Allen.
What?
Yes. What about the Bills this year?
All right. 8. We'll talk about it later. 8. Huh?
Dak.
Okay. 7.
Jordan Love.
Okay. 6.
Brock Purdy.
Oh my God.
Stinks.
All style objective over here.
5.
CJ Stroud.
4.
Jalen Hurts.
Wow, you guys have Jalen at the same spot. There it's 3.
Joe Burrow.
Okay. 2.
Lamar.
And then,
of course, Pat Mahomes.
All right. I will say this. I agree with Rob's list way more than I agree with yours.
Once again, this is the sheer
way more than I agree with yours. Oh my God!
This is the shenanigans that comes along with list season. You brought me back for the fun.
Sure. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to go and number 10. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10. Yeah. All right. So 10. I've got Dak Prescott. And then I've got Matthew Stafford at 9. I don't know how you guys missed Matthew Stafford.
That might have been an oversight on my part.
Yeah. Jordan Love, I've got at 8. Okay. Justin Herbert, I've got at 7. Herbert. Then I've got CJ Stroud. Then I've got. It's funny how this worked out. We all have Hurts at 4. Got Jalen Hurts. Actually, do I want to? You know what? I'm gonna because it's so close, but I'm just gonna do Jalen Hurts at 5, and then Joe Burrow, and then I've got Lamar, and then I've got Josh Allen at 2. And then Patrick freaking Mahomes. So we all agree to Patrick Mahomes. Let me get this here thing out. Okay, so that's my list. All right. Usually you guys know that I usually break it down in tiers, but I'll keep it at that for now. If I were to do tiers, actually, let's see. I would break it down like tier 1, obviously, is Patrick Mahomes. Tier 2 starts with Josh Allen, and it includes Allen, Lamar, Joe, and Hurts, and Stroud. And then I'm going to go tier... No, you know what? Let's do tier 3 at Jordan Love. I think tier 3 would be my tier 3. So that's how I would probably break it down. Yeah, if I were to do tiers. So, okay. Let's get to some of the comments before we start talking about and discussing. Andrew Baker says, disagree with the poll, but we don't need him to be. If he's top 10, we're in the NFC title game. Chrome says, what's up? Little G Griffith says, I'm a big fan of Eagles 2024 season better. Eagles win 14-3. I'm going to be an uncle. Oh, that's awesome. Congrats to you. Andrew Baker does have his. He has Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, Allen, Stroud, Dak, Love, Stafford, Goff, and then Hurts. So he's got Hurts at 1, 2, 3,
10.
So 1, 2, 3.
So he's got him barely in the top 10.
7, 8, and 9. He's got Hurts at 10, right at 10. We got Chrome says Burrow's talent is top 5, but injuries have to be factored in. Best ability is availability, and that's right. I think for me,
correct.
That was the toughest part of Burrow.
He gets those excuses that Lamar
Yeah,
doesn't get.
Frankly, Lamar and Jalen Hurts don't get those excuses.
We know why.
Chrome says
Justin Fields MVP-wise 3.
Obvious why, but I don't want to get canceled, so we'll move on.
John,
that's
John
a factual statement.
PY put the
alcohol away. This is a draft night.
Povia says, "What's up?" Mr. Rudy Poo says, "Putting Hurts in the top 5 is crazy, fellas. Come on now." I don't know what's so crazy about that.
What about this offense heading into this year makes you think he can't be top 5?
Yeah, I don't know.
He was top 10 last year with one of the worst offensive coordinators in professional football.
Herbert's a top 10 talent, but I don't think he's going to have a top 10 season next year. I don't know what they're doing. It's the same thing with
Trevor Lawrence. Like, he has the ability, but can he put it together?
I'm very proud of the panel for no one putting him in the top 10. Very proud.
I'm taking Jared Goff over Hurts right now.
It's not a bad take.
I mean, it's an awful take.
I don't know. CJ Stroud.
Like, how is it?
Povia. Hold on. We have to. Hold on. CJ Stroud could surge up this list. Yeah,
he could.
Really. I think we're all pretty much in that. We have Stroud in the same range, so we all agreed on that. And then Luke is very close, but disagreed to the poll. Hurts at 6. Okay, so he has Hurts at 6. So we all agree going into this season, Hurts is going to be a top 5 QB in the NFL. Yep. So, Brink, since you started off, what is it that you see from Hurts? Make one point. Give one reason why you believe Hurts will bounce back. Because I think we all agree that he regressed a little bit in 2023. What makes you believe that Hurts is going to bounce back in 2024?
Oh, Kellen Moore. Hopefully, Kellen Moore. This coaching staff did not get it done last year. And, this is a lot of my guys, a couple of my guys on there because – they have to do it this year. Jalen Hurts has to be a top 5 quarterback in the situation that he's been put in, or else he might not be that good. Kyler Murray has to be a top 10 quarterback, or you're putting him in the bust category. I don't understand why everyone hates Jared Goff. He's been to 2 title games and a Super Bowl. The Lions are going to be really good. I don't get it. The Lions, yes. Culture. Culture. They're built the right way. They have a lot of talent, and they have a franchise quarterback. Why would I think they're not good?
All right,
I didn't say they won't be good.
PY, what one reason that you think Jalen Hurts will be top 5 QB?
Maturity. Once again, there is a maturity in the room. There is no lack of experience there. You shored up the running back position. You got another experienced running back to help Jalen Hurts. The Kellen Moore effect is going to be one of the biggest impacts on this roster because he is surgical when it comes to the quarterback play. Obviously, he wasn't the end-all be-all of anything in the NFL, but what he sees when it comes to scheming up plays is next level. And he sees what Jalen Hurts needs to excel at and what will help him get to that next level, and that's going to set him up.
Gotcha. All right, for me, the main reason why I think he's gonna be a top 5 QB here is because I would go with Kellen Moore. That would have been my answer too. But other than that, I say it's because he's healthy. Because I think last year, as we saw, he wasn't the same runner, and that had a trickle effect on his performance because he wasn't healthy. So I think that with him being healthy, and if he can stay healthy all year, that dynamic run ability that he has shown to have is going to have a positive trickle effect, not only as him, as a runner, but in this offense, like you said, Brinks, with Kellen Moore, it's going to open things up, and it's going to be the big question is does Jalen Hurts have the ability to be the type of passer that some of us do believe he can be? We always talk about he doesn't target the middle of the field. He's not good against the blitzes. But we have arguments where that was more so on the coaching staff, the offensive coordinators, right? So we believe that's the case, but is it the actual case? The answer to that is going to be provided this year. So I think that it's going to be very telling. If you were to base this list off of just so far and not project to 2024, to be honest, Hurts will probably be down a couple spots. But I think if we're just basing off one season, who would we have going into 2024 for one season? I would take Hurts in top 5. It'd be where he's right at 5, and for you guys, I see that he's at 4. So I think that we all agree that it's pivotal. And I will say this: would you guys agree that if he isn't, I won't even say top 5. If he doesn't play like a top 10 QB, like in these tiers, like, if he doesn't play that level, our season there's no hope for our season. Would all agree? Yeah, right. He has to play like a top 10-ish quarterback. He has to play to the level of all these quarterbacks that we've seen. Like, I think we've all agreed that the 10 quarterbacks that we've listed, save for some, because I know PY, for some reason you put Caleb Williams on there, even though he hasn't done it yet. And for some reason you have Brock Purdy on there, which I definitely disagree with. But I mean, I think we agree that all these quarterbacks that we have shown the ability to perform at a high level. So Hurts has to do that, or else our season's lost. Or like it's not, there's no hope. So I hear that. So let's bring in, I know Les is in the background. Let's bring him in. Les, what's going on?
Hey guys,
how are you?
Hello,
Les. Doing well. How was your Memorial Day?
Very, very quiet around these parts, but I'm going to London in a few days. So
there you go.
That's
lucky
awesome.
duck.
Are you going to watch the Phillies?
Yeah, that would be one of the things.
Pretty cool.
We're also going to see a musical and doing some other stuff too. But yeah,
Nice.
we're going to do that.
Nice.
Hope Ranger makes that start Saturday.
That'd be nice.
Drive off his thumb. So
yeah, I heard his injury isn't that bad, right? Like
that's what they say. Having been through this a number of times in various sports, you want to see the guy out there, before you. It always seems like, oh, he's okay. Well, maybe not quite, but we'll see.
Carson was okay too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've many times over the years. It's,
Yep.
but we'll see. I think, the team is playing so well. I don't know if you guys saw any of the game tonight. I know you've been on the air, but really crisp 3-1 win tonight. So.
Oh, nice. They just keep on going. And Hilo says, Chrome says, my man Les, glass in London. Hope you're not getting the Juwan Walker start.
Me too. That was dreadful last night. But what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'll have a good time. Whoever starts.
So Les, you come in as we listed our top 10 QBs going in. So this is for 2024 specifically.
Wow.
So we have, in terms of Hurts, because that's the main focus here. Where would we rank Hurts compared to other QBs? I have him at 5. They have him at 4. So I know you probably didn't make a list, but looking at our list, like, what are your thoughts? Do you think Hurts is going to be a top 5 QB in this upcoming season?
Well, that's certainly the idea behind bringing in Kellen Moore. I know you guys have discussed this, but if he, as you were saying when I signed on here, if he isn't, then nothing else they've done really matters. I expect that he will be in that range. I don't think he has to be like right up there with Mahomes and Allen. I think there can be a little bit of, they're going to be a good team. I think if he's very good, he doesn't have to be unworldly for them to win. But I would expect that he'll be top 5-ish, depending on how other guys play and who's healthy and all that good stuff. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be great this year, or is he going to be washed up? I don't know. I can't guarantee that he's going to be top 5. If I had that kind of power, I'd fix a lot of things in the world. But I just think that's what we expect. Yeah, I honestly don't think. I think the narrative about last season has kind of gotten over the top a little bit.
Yes,
I think he was a lot better than people remember. People remember the playoff game where he was bad, and
he was.
He wasn't really that bad. I mean, there were some things that I was very frustrated with, and some things that he definitely could have done better. But for much of the season, he was the
MVP for the first 12 weeks of the season.
Like, he was great in 2022 and he was horrible in 2023. That kind of is what it gets reduced down to, and I don't think that's true at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I know PYU said like he was MVP for the first 12 weeks of the season before that collapse. I also want to put that into perspective because I do agree. Like in terms of how the MVP is looked at, like the parameters of it, the criteria of it, yeah, he was definitely in the running because MVP nowadays is the quarterback of a winning team, right?
Yeah,
so like by
yeah.
default, and I don't want to take anything away because he was playing really well. But if you break down it, and I know there's a lot of like advanced stats and metrics and things you can go off of this, he won. I think we'd all agree, like I said at the top of the show, he wasn't the same as he was the year before. He definitely
no, but they were scoring a lot of points and winning.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I mean, a lot of them points were being scored on the tush push, but it still counted. I mean, I wouldn't get too. I think you can get too deep in the weeds when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks. There were some situations. The schedule was a lot tougher than 2022.
Oh yeah, that one stretch.
Yep. I think opponents were a little. They'd seen AJ Brown and they'd seen Jalen and they'd seen what the Eagles wanted to do, and I think it was a. I don't know that he'll be able to. I don't know that we can hold up 2022 as, if he doesn't do everything that he did that year and not turn the ball over ever and run for whatever 700, 800 yards and do all this other stuff, that he's not as good. I think his game is going to change, and as defenses adjust, I think if he isn't turning the ball over a lot and if they're scoring touchdowns and winning, I think he's okay.
Yeah. And Mr. Rudy Poo makes a fair point with his first statement. He says, "I remember all the horrendous picks he faced out of him." And I think that's one of the things in where, like, I know not all of them were his fault, but there were some that were. Like,
there were some. He forced the ball. I think late in the season, and I don't mean to talk over everybody. If anybody has a point here, just jump in. But late in the season, the defense was so bad that I think he thought he had to score a touchdown every time. And instead of eating the ball or throwing it away, or, I think he was going for the home run way too much, going for the low percentage throw way too much.
Carson Wentz syndrome, essentially.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and I think, I also think the narrative with Carson got a little distorted. I don't want to get sidetracked into that, but until 2020, Carson really wasn't a bad quarterback. But, I do think the offense had a lot to do with it. I think his frustration with the offense had a lot to do with it. I think he wasn't seeing what he wanted to see when he looked downfield. And, I just think to say that the jury's out on him, I don't think the jury's that far out. I'm sorry. That guy that
that's the part I didn't agree with.
Won the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I don't find the jury out on him. I think he has some vulnerabilities that he has to address.
I know, Mr. Rudy Poo. He's still heated about the Jets game that they lost.
So the Jets game ruins your image of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But him beating the Cowboys,
right,
the Bills, and the Chiefs,
those were great games.
Doesn't help your view of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. I will say
you will have bad games. Every quarterback in the NFL, has terrible games. And it happens. I've seen Peyton Manning have bad games. I've seen Aaron Rodgers have bad games. It's
Brady.
Yeah, exactly. It's
everyone's had bad games.
Yes.
We got that Jets game. I will say that that interception late was probably one of it might have been the worst interception I've seen Hurts throw. The situation.
Agreed.
And there were several other interceptions where it was so weird because it seemed like him and the receiver just weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
And to your point, Les, maybe that's frustration with the offense because there's stuff in the offense that they're just not getting in sync with, right? So it's just those were so uncharacteristic from 2022, whereas in 2023 it's just what are you throwing to? That's why I said some of them weren't his fault. But when you have a miscommunication with you and the receiver, oftentimes the quarterback's going to get the blame. So whether it's reasonable or not, that's just how it is. That I don't agree with Mr. Rudy Poo does come off as negative toward Hurts a lot, but that Jets game, I do agree in the sense that that was a really bad loss. That was a really bad loss.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the
people also say that about me though, and I have him number 4 on my list.
Well, that's where
there's a time and a place for being negative over a certain. Yeah. First off, you can't a November game last year. What even before that? Like you're gonna base your whole opinion about that after he probably should have been the MVP of a Super Bowl that he lost.
Yeah,
never happens.
Exactly.
And was an MVP candidate until
the collapse.
No one was an MVP candidate here.
The only long-term concern I really have with Jalen Hurts is, can he be? We've seen him win games with his arm, without being able to run the ball himself a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Can he be over the course of a season if he doesn't run for 700 to 800 yards and bail them out of, 3rd and 12? Whoops, nothing's happening. Here he goes. If he isn't able to do that consistently, if defenses are able to take that away, can he really be a top 5 quarterback without that element?
Mm-hmm.
And that element is hard to sustain as you get older. Not just because of the defenses, but because your body doesn't, you don't have that that same jump, that same, that happened with McNabb a little bit, long time ago, but I still remember it. It's a different game, and you have to adjust as you get older. And you see this you see this in basketball with guys, you see it with athletes. It's an important thing to be able to sort of, figure out different ways of beating people. And I want to see that from him, frankly, because I don't think he's going to spend the next 10 years running for 800 yards a season, but other than that, his mindset, his focus, his personality, his, I don't have any questions there.
Yeah, I think I think that leads to kind of goes to what I was saying in terms of that's what Kellen Moore is here to do, and that's that system and what Kellen Moore does as offensive coordinator. That's going to give us the answer of whether Hurts can be that guy to beat teams solely on his arm when needed. And I think there have been flashes. We've seen in the Super Bowl.
We've seen him do it.
But
we haven't seen him do it over a stretch of games.
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be a game where you'll say, okay, threw 4 touchdown passes and didn't run much. Obviously this is, he can be this guy, but he hasn't been that guy, for a long time, in a row,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And I know that's because I listen to a lot of other podcasts in terms of football analysts. I know that Nate Tice and Mina Kimes, they did an exercise or did a QB draft for QBs going into the season. And one of the criticisms of Nate Tice, who works with you at Yahoo, he's always been a little bit lower on Hurts. And one of the reasons why is because Hurts just doesn't do the things from the pocket that other QBs that you would listen to top do. And he's a son of Mike Tice. So he knows he knows what he has this preference, or this not preference, but this mode. He knows the QB position, and he loves guys like Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott, because they're so mechanical in the pocket as a passer, and I can understand from that regard. So Nate was also always saying if Hurts can show to be able to throw to the middle of the field, beat blitzes, and win pre-snap, that is something where that will elevate his game and how people view him.
Absolutely, I think that's true.
I
think he's a very good quarterback, regardless. I don't. You have to be careful with that. The idolatry of pure pocket passers. Joe Burrow, yes, but a lot of those guys aren't. That it's cool to be able to, make something out of nothing too. I think we've gotten past the era. When I first started covering football, there was a real prejudice toward, if you're not a pocket passer, then you're not really a quarterback,
Yeah.
And I don't, we're way past that. I think Russell Wilson and a lot of people, took that and out behind the barn and shot it, but I do want to see him make better decisions and, like you said, throw the middle of the field, which happened in 2022 and didn't happen in 2023. Yeah. And we still don't know why.
I mean, we know why.
Yeah, it's crazy because what
do we know?
I know that when Shane Steichen was there, we did it, and then when Brian Johnson was there, we did not do it. You know what we did? We did 3 straight screens to Julio Jones.
Right. Yeah, and that no. That's not gonna. If they start doing that again this year, I think you burn down the NovaCare. But I don't think that's what this offense is going to be.
No.
Yep. I hear you.
Les, you see our lists on the screen here. Which list kind of jives with your opinion the most?
Oh boy. Well, I like them all. I've never. With Lamar Jackson, some days I'm like, wow. And other days I'm like, But I definitely think C.J. Stroud is going into that second tier. Now, maybe he's going to have a horrible sophomore season or something, but that guy is
so good.
He's special to me.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love, if you go by what people in Green Bay think, he's going to be bumping heads with Mahomes pretty soon. But I don't know. I guess we'll see in Sao Paulo how that goes. But I think he might be ascending on that list.
Him too. Love.
I kind of like. I guess I like Chuck's list a little. Rob has Aaron Rodgers. I do think you can't forget about Aaron Rodgers, as much as I'd like to. These are good lists. I don't hate any of these lists, frankly. I hate to be wishy-washy, but everybody has good points. Caleb Williams there. That's a good name. Caleb Williams is going to make it. I mean, if he doesn't make it, then I just give up.
Is this your Mel Kiper moment?
I guess so. But Kyler Murray, I'm up and down on him too.
Me too. I used to love Kyler.
Yeah.
But it's he.
This is it for him. This is it.
This is
With him, I do worry about personality and focus and maturity and things like that. I don't worry about all the physical skills.
Yep.
Which reminds me,
does he have it here?
Somebody had a tweet today. They were showing an old clip of Michael Vick with the Eagles throwing a bullet, throwing the ball on a rope to Brent Selleck for a touchdown.
We lost that game, but that's still that.
Well, it reminded me that I've seen a lot of quarterbacks in the last 20-some years that I was really, involved in football, and Michael Vick had the best arm of any of them.
Oh my God, yeah!
Just a flick of the wrist.
What that guy could have been if he'd have been the Michael Vick of 2010, 5 years earlier.
Les,
he would be the greatest quarterback in NFL history.
You have the Les. I know you were covering the team at that time. I have said, because I followed football closely since 2000, right? So to 2000 on, if I'm just looking at that, in terms of single season, I have never seen a better quarterback than 2010 Michael Vick. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's pretty true. And the receivers weren't extraordinary either. They had DJ, but
Macklin was there too. Macklin was there, but Macklin was. But you're talking about Michael Vick, who could run as every bit of runner as it was in Atlanta, but then he was running that West Coast offense, which is not easy, not easy at all. That West Coast offense, he was doing it from the pocket when you would need the fact that was the epitome to me of a true dual threat quarterback who was lethal on the ground and lethal in the pocket. It was that season was by Michael Vick. I don't remember ever seeing a quarterback as complete and as deadly as Mike Vick in 2010. It's unfortunate that he couldn't replicate that, and
no, he couldn't.
That?
He would kind of came too late. I mean, he'd been in the league a long time by 2010.
Yeah,
he kind of screwed around, and we all know what really happened with the dog thing, which was horrendous. But he just didn't take the game as serious. And he admitted, he talked about this. He was also the most forthcoming quarterback I've ever covered.
He's one of the most honest guys you'll ever meet.
And you could talk to him at his locker. He's the only Eagles starting quarterback I've ever covered who would just stand there at his locker and you could come up and talk to him. I mean, you can get a word with most of these guys if you're doing a story on an offensive lineman or something and you need a quote and you didn't get it in the press conference, you can get a quick, as he's walking out to the field or something but you can't, Wentz and Hurts and McNabb didn't hang out at their lockers waiting for you to come over and engage them in conversation, Whereas Michael Vick would, you could just walk up, talk about anything you wanted with Mike, But yeah, my point was best arm I've ever seen. It's a darn shame. If he had come into the league in the right situation with the right guidance and the right mindset, God only knows.
Sky's the limit.
Oh God, so I want to ask you that. I know it's a bit of a tangent before you go off, but because I that 2010 season from Vic was just so special. Since you were covering the team, there are people that are skeptical. I have friends who are they question whether Vic's turnaround and him becoming a different person was genuine or not. But it's been documented how he took on such a leadership role with the Eagles. Can you speak onto that? What did you see as a leader in the locker room during his time here?
Well, I was skeptical. I mean, nobody knows what's really in somebody else's heart. I don't know, but I do know this. I went with him he had to make a lot of public appearances as part of his probation.
Yes, yeah.
And he would go to community centers in North Philadelphia, and it would be packed to the rafters. And the people that were there were people who had relatives who were incarcerated or had been incarcerated and wanted to hear that there was hope for redemption, that they could get past this. And he was spot on about that. And I'll always respect that. I hate what happened with the dogs. I'm a dog lover. I've never been without a dog my entire adult life. But what I heard from that guy seemed to be from the heart, and it certainly helped a lot of people. I know that. I know it really gave hope to people who needed hope, frankly. And as a leader in the locker room, I think certainly with the younger guys, particularly the younger black guys, he was, not exclusively, but particularly for them, he was
the mentor.
He was like Michael Jordan or something, he was just, they hung on his every word, and I think he did everything right. That having been said, the one thing I will say about 2010 that wasn't great, you remember the way they went out of the playoffs?
Yeah. Oh, God. Heartbreaking.
So he moves them down the field against the team that eventually won the Super Bowl, the Green Bay Packers. He moves them down the field. They've got, I don't have the stats in front of me, but there's time left. It's like 40
seconds or something.
Yeah,
I think 50 seconds, right? Yeah.
And he throws a ball up, a 50-50 ball for Riley Cooper in the end zone, and it gets intercepted.
Yep.
And afterward, he said, I was just trying to make something happen. And it was all I could do not to yell, you didn't have to make something happen. It was first down.
I know. And Lester, I don't know if you remember the play before, D-Jax made a big catch and run. Shoestring tackle. If that tackle isn't made, we don't have to worry about that. But it's, oh my God,
I think David Akers missed 3 kicks in that game.
Oh my God, yeah.
But with Vic, there was still in his personality, there was that from Atlanta, there was still that little bit of, I'm gonna, what the hell? I'm just gonna
ball.
See what happens, and No.
Yeah.
That was not the situation. If there's 5 seconds left, yes, but good God, no. They could have won that game. And like I said, the team that beat them won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But he was a really interesting player, and I enjoyed covering him. And but it kind of shows you we've been through so much with quarterbacks here in Philly. With McNabb, with Michael, with Foles twice, with Wentz. I guess what I'm grouping very inarticulately to say here is this whole thing with Hurts and how he has to be a little bit better. Careers don't often go like that. It can be kind of a mixed bag a little bit. I want to see him cut down on the interceptions and make better decisions. But if he's not quite, as lights out as he was in 2022, I think you can live with that. Top 5-ish ought to be good enough if you put the right team around him to win the Super Bowl. I don't think he should have to be the very best quarterback in the league for them to win the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I think to your point, Les, is I think the truth about Hurts, who he really is as a QB, is probably somewhere in between the 2022 and 2023. And I think that's perfectly fine because,
that's well said. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that when it comes to evaluation, and I learned this from the scouting academy, they tier players. They evaluate by 3 different tiers. Are they a player you can win because of, win with, or win despite of? And to me, as long as you have a QB you can win because of, that's all you need. And I think most of these top 10 quarterbacks that we list, most of them fall into that tier. They are QBs you can win because of. They are guys who, at moments, they will carry your team when you need them to.
Right.
When you need them to. So, like you said, Hurts, I agree 100%. He doesn't have to be the second best QB in the league. He doesn't have to be, like elite like a Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. He just has to be Jalen Hurts to where he can win you games when you need him to. So great. That's a great way of framing it too.
Great. And I like Heel Chrome's point about Vic there too on the screen right now. Yeah, I want to believe in it. I don't really know deep down, but I want to believe in it myself.
Yeah, me too. All right, Les, thank you for coming on again. Do you have anything for coming for? I know you got the London trip, but like anything else that you want to shout out before you head out?
I'm probably going to write something for PHLY tomorrow. I guess they have more availability off of the mini camp, which will be the last thing they do.
Okay.
I didn't. They had assistant coaches today, I guess, but I don't think they transcripted that. So since I don't have a credential anymore, I wasn't there for that, and I probably won't be writing about that. That's always so valuable, though, when you get the position coaches. They don't make them available a lot, but it's such a valuable thing for a writer to get insight from these guys. I mean, sometimes it's just BS. Sometimes they, depending on the coach, they'll just blow smoke up a Jalen Reagor or somebody who's not any good. But other times you get real insight. I think it was Corey Unlin was the defensive backs coach. And there was a lot of like, why don't they just move Rasul Douglas to safety, one year. And we got Corey at some point during the season. And Corey was kind of exasperated with this. And he just said, he doesn't move laterally well enough.
Yeah.
Which, that's all you need to hear. I didn't know that, but, it's like, you can't do that. He doesn't move laterally well enough.
Yeah.
He was actually a pretty good corner in the right system, Rasul.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, huh?
He's a cover 2 corner. He doesn't have
cover
deep
2 corner.
He's
Exactly.
aggressive. He's big. He's, he has a nose.
Ask Green Bay how good he is.
Yeah, exactly. And he's not a great player, but he was all right for a 3rd-round pick for a team that doesn't draft corners well at all. Yeah, he was actually a pretty good selection. And he was a guy with a great backstory too, who had really struggled growing up and but
I always rooted for
getting those position coaches is gold because there's so much that you just don't. I'm not, I was never a real player or coach. I don't know this stuff. And if you get the right guy, you can really get some insight into the team.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Les. We
thank
love
you guys. I enjoyed doing this.
Yeah, we love.
I won't be around next week. I'll be on my way from London to Edinburgh, but on the train. But I hope you guys have a good show.
Have a great trip out there, and enjoy yourself. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks or a few weeks when you get back.
I'll hoist a pint in your honor.
There we go. Have some fish and chips.
Yes. All right.
All right, Les. See you later.
Thank you, Les.
So we are, again, make sure you guys, if you're still listening in, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and follow, as always. And we are brought to you by Baggio's Bread in Mount Royal, New Jersey. 10% off your in-store purchase when you mention A2D Radio. All right, so great segments. I love the segue that we had talking about Michael Vick. I'm always partial to Vick in that season, so I love that insight that we got from him, from Les. He's John Malmus. If you guys want to answer this real quick, because I do want to get to our list before we head out of here. But he does ask, with this Eagles team in 2024, who has a better year, the 2010 version of Vick or the 1990 version of Cunningham? He's taking RC12.
I say Cunningham because he'd have an actual offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm born in '89.
With these guys, Cunningham would.
See, so I will defer because
I remember Cunningham in what was it, '98 with the Vikings?
With the Vikings, yeah. We don't know prime. We don't know prime Cunningham. So I'm not going to pretend like I watched him in person.
He's the ultimate weapon.
So I'm going to defer, but I will say that a lot of people that are older than me that whose opinions I trust, Randall Cunningham was that dude. So
yes,
I will defer. I cannot provide an answer personally because I'd never watched him, but I will defer, and I believe you, John. You're not the only one that says Cunningham was that guy. So I hear you on that. All right, so
his play sheet was a blank piece of paper.
John also does give his top 10. He says Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Hurts, Dak, Love, Stroud, Stafford, and Herbert. So he's lower on Herbert. That's a little low. But Chrome also provided his. He's got Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Hurts, Stroud, Burrow, Goff, Love, Stafford, Rodgers in that order. So
I do think if Stroud, if Stroud has another year this year like he did last year, he's going to be.
He's in that elite category.
He might be right below Mahomes.
Yeah. I know Chrome mentioned 11, but I hear you on that. So, Stroud to me, for now, I think, is it possible that he hits somewhat of a sophomore slump? Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe. But I think that as long as he plays at a high level, he doesn't have to completely replicate his rookie year, but as long as he continues to play at a high level, I would absolutely. He's in that second tier for me.
One could argue whether or not he has a Baker Mayfield sophomore year, to where you get the sexy piece, you get the shiny new toy, and you force feed it, and it kind of puts you in a hole.
Mm-hmm. To Stroud, because we all are in agreement on Stroud. We have him roughly in the same area along, we have him neck and neck with Jalen Hurts, so we are all in agreement with that. The other guy that I think is right behind him, who I have a little bit lower, is Jordan Love, but I feel it was tough for me to cut Love off at that tier 3, but I do like Stroud more than I like Love by a little bit. So I think Love is going to. Again, I think there are things with Love's games where it's still a little bit gunslinger, to where I think he's going to get in some issues with turnovers.
That's gunslinger in Green Bay, you say?
Oh yeah,
never heard of this in 35 years.
So that's where I would have Love. But PY, you had him at. So I had him at 8. PY, you had him at 7, and Rob, you had him at 9. So we have him roughly the same thing.
I said it when they drafted him. I said, I'm like, hey, look, they drafted a Hall of Famer in the first round, and everyone thought I was crazy.
No, I was with you. I didn't say Hall of Famer, but I was like, that's a good pick. And people were like, get him a receiver.
They know one thing in Green Bay. They know what they've picked. They've gotten 3 guys in the last 35 years. And they know quarterbacks. These are when they go out of their way to grab a quarterback, I pay attention to it because they don't do it often, especially high.
Yeah. He wants to answer that question. He says he would go with Vic. The level of that year in 2010 with this talent around him, they may not lose a game. I mean, that is true. So I want to bring some. Looking at your list, I have some disagreements. I think the one disagreement I have the most is maybe Kyler, but it's not really like it's not enough to where I'm like, yeah, that's dumb. Kyler, maybe Goff. I don't think Goff is that type of quarterback, but again, like it's not to the point where I'm like, yeah, you're dumb. The one thing I want to get to, because we have 10 minutes left, PY, really Brock Purdy at freaking 6? You think Brock Purdy is going to be the 6th best quarterback?
He could be heading into this year with everything still available to him, all the pieces still here. Now,
we're not talking about team success. We're talking.
Yes, Purdy as a quarterback, he was an MVP favorite as well last year.
Yeah,
wasn't even he's not even the MVP of the Niners. Christian McCaffrey is.
Yeah, Brock Purdy to me is like a top, like a 15-ish. He's between 10 to 15. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy where he's going to be a top 6 quarterback.
What were those 3 tiers? What were those 3 tiers you just said? Win
because of, win with, and win despite of. I don't think he'll.
The Niners win despite Brock Purdy. Now, a guy that I
trade Brandon Ayuk tomorrow, that's a different story. Then he's out of the top 10 because I think that plays a bit.
If
he's number 6, he should be able to overcome that.
Yeah, that's a big
overcome.
You guys see, you're basing it on a team. I'm trying to say, like, look at just them. Like, look at them in a vacuum. Like, if you were to put Brock Purdy on all, if you were to put all of these quarterbacks separate of their other teams, and just put them in a vacuum on how they play, you think Brock Purdy would be the 6th best quarterback in the league in 2020?
I think he could be.
I don't see that. I
Okay.
I hate ragging on him, but like, he's not that quarter. Even in the playoffs last year, he had good moments. Like he's a guy who can make plays. Obviously, like I have him as a top 15 quarterback. I don't think he sucks, but at the same time, like when has he ever shown to be the type of quarterback that wins you games himself? We've seen the difference between him and Purdy, or him and Purdy and Hurts, right? And we say, like, okay, like they both had great teams around them. But the difference with Hurts is you've seen Hurts put the team on his back and win himself. Purdy, you haven't seen that. There are no games where Purdy is like, okay, like I am going to make the play here and like myself. I'm going to win this game myself because of me. We don't see that consistently from Purdy. We've seen that consistently in Hurts. That's the difference. Evaluating separate from the surroundings and saying, hey, like Hurts can win you games himself. Purdy can't. I don't see.
Like if Kyler Murray is as good as I think he is, the Cardinals are going to be a good team because of Kyler Murray.
Yes.
You can't say that about Brock Purdy. You just can't. Correct. And since 2003, a team that finished last in their division has gone on to win their division the following year. Every year since 2003. That's over 20 years of data.
There's been one team that's done it every year?
No, one at least one each year.
One each year. Yeah, one each year.
2 teams have done it. Two times done it.
There's always someone like that.
I think the Cardinals are that team this year.
So we'll talk about it when we get into August. But I actually am with you, and I tweeted that after the draft. I loved their draft, and I love what they're doing this offseason. And I hate admitting that because I think we all don't like Gannon, but yeah, they've got a team. I honestly could see them competing for that division. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So I'm with you on that, Brinks. Mr. Rudy Poo says Josh Allen at 9 is nuts. PY. That's another thing.
What about the Bills? What about the
9?
Yes, 9? I do. Yes, for this season, nothing about the Bills' offense does anything for me. It does not make me excited.
Into the thing of team or QB. We're talking specifically about QB.
I don't think he's going to have a great season at the quarterback position this year, just because it's his first year in a while without Stephon Diggs.
Let me ask you this, PY. Say the Buffalo Bills call you up tomorrow and are like, "Yo, we're sick of Josh Allen. Just give us Jalen Hurts, even swap."
No.
You're saying no.
Oh, I'm saying no, yes. I don't believe in Josh Allen.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
He's Carson Wentz on steroids.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He is Carson. Oh my God. You think your blood pressure was high when Carson was playing quarterback? Oh my God. It would be Josh Allen. It would be a bipolar roller coaster.
The only thing he can't do is beat Patrick Mahomes, which is going to be a theme of this era.
Yeah, that's a good. Yes. No one can be Patrick Mahomes. Apparently, Joe Burrow. But PY, this is where I know you don't you're not a Josh Allen fan, and you're getting your bias is getting to you.
It's not. I don't believe in him in the long term. I don't. It's okay.
You really think that Josh Allen is just Carson Wentz when in reality,
I think
Josh Allen is 10 times better than Carson Wentz ever was. Josh Allen is.
He is that type of player. He is that type of player where the highs are highs and the lows are low.
Yeah, but
when has he been low? He's in the AFC title game. He's deep. He wins playoff games every year.
Yeah, I don't.
Every year.
Yeah.
With a coach who I think is a dope, Sean McDermott, a dope, especially when it comes to offense.
I wish
they got together because they got
easy there, Howard Eskin.
They got Ken Dorsey, who they let go, and they got their offensive coordinator, and they kind of wrote the ship.
They let go. They let go of Ken Dorsey.
And then they brought in.
Oh, I forget who they brought in. I forget the name of it off the top of my head.
Oh, the guy Joe Brady, I think it was, right?
Yes,
the LSU guy.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
So a guy who actually understands passing and offense got a hold of Josh Allen, and he went back to being the stud that Brian Dable developed.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think they're that bereft of weapons. They have Dalton Kincaid.
They're gonna be.
They have Khalil Shakir, who is a good slot guy. They drafted Keon Coleman on the outside. Keon Coleman's going to be really good. So and they have James Cook. They have Ray Davis, who I really liked out of the draft. So they have weapons on offense. It's not like they're bereft of talent.
You know what I mean? Division's not much either.
Yeah, the division's not much. The Dolphins, that's it.
We'll see.
Oh, God, Josh, you are so low on Josh Allen. It's not even I know you, and you get these. You
think you know me?
Oh no, I know you. So Josh Allen at 9 to me, that's another one that jumped off. I'm like, what are you doing, Josh Allen? There's no way any ranking could have Josh Allen as low or any lower than 4.
So you wouldn't trade Dak Prescott for Josh Allen. You're saying no.
If I were the Cowboys, yes, I would do that.
What's the difference?
I think the Cowboys are in desperate need of a changing of the guard. I don't think you can get over the hump.
Yeah, that's why they're not paying anybody, everyone's ripping them, but it's not the most it is asinine because you need good players to compete. And if you have good players that are disgruntled, that can go the wrong way quick. But Jerry Jones is why am I going to break the bank for all these guys who can't win?
Well, also, the last few guys that he's paid has bit him in the butt, and he's trying to hold off as much as he can.
Yeah, but PY, you also, this is where you're getting it's kind of hypocritical because I know that after that loss, you're on here as much as anyone criticizing Dak Prescott, saying he can't win the big one. So you're saying, Dak Prescott is this good. He's better than Josh Allen. He can't win the big one. Whereas Dak Prescott can't win the big one, or he can't win a playoff game. Whereas Josh Allen has won playoff games. He had big performances, but you're going to put Josh Allen low. You think Josh Allen is lower than Dak Prescott?
For this season, yes. I think for this season, yes. This is not who I think is better. I think Josh Allen is better than Dak Prescott. But for this season and this season alone,
it doesn't matter what
lower. You're just spinning. You're just spinning, so you can't be wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm not wrong. It's okay.
There's no season where Josh Allen is not better than Dak Prescott. There's no season. I don't care what it is. There's no season. There's no realm where Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Josh Allen. There's none.
You said what you think heading into this season. This is what I think.
Yeah, and
you won it list season. This is list season.
I know, and this is what I'm saying. Like this is list season.
Made a bad list.
I'm carrying you a new one.
A great list.
Because Josh Allen at 9.
You're the vice president in your top 10. Get out of here.
Really going to 2024, you really would rather have Brock Purdy than Josh Allen. That's us.
I think he will have a better season than Josh Allen. Yes,
because I think casuals like Pete have this
take about
Josh Allen. Here. And I think Josh Allen is going to have, based on your list, yeah, you're a casual.
No, bro, get out of here, dude. I've been watching the NFL for 20 plus years. Get out of here.
1,000% a casual. And I think there's a lot of casuals like you out there that are hating on Josh Allen at this time of the year.
Oh, my God. What are you, Josh Allen, little fanboy?
I remember after week 1, before we
Cry me a river.
I remember after week 1 of the 2023 season when the Bills had that bad loss to the Jets, so many people were like, oh, Josh Allen is barely a top 10 quarterback. This is why Josh Allen isn't elite.
That's ridiculous. He is a top 10 quarterback.
He has the season that he has. So I think the hate on Josh Allen, and I'll say this before we go. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, guys that I think like the hate goes a little bit too far. I think it's one thing also, I think it's very interesting, and I think it's cool that we have this in agreement. None of us mentioned Trevor Lawrence.
Thank God. You mean the Great White Hype?
I think that's fair. I think that's very good because so many people are, analysts that I follow and I respect, but they're still willing to put Trevor Lawrence as a top 10 talent at quarterback or top 10 QB. But like,
he was not the prince who was promised.
You've got to be able to produce. Like he's not living up, even separate from his team. He hasn't lived up to the billing that his draft stock says. And
I mean, you could argue the same for Herbert, but like both of those guys have, I think, underperformed.
I think no, but here's the thing.
I think Trevor is way more.
Yeah, Trevor's way more because I think Herbert actually has carried his team more than Trevor Lawrence has carried his. Yeah, like they both had issues with their teams, but if you look at what Justin Herbert has gone through in terms of the injuries that he's had to deal with his supporting cast, the coaching, like his coach was Brandon Staley, guys. Yes. The coaching, like despite all of those,
Justin and they could have got rid of him. They could have gone out and they got the guy in Denver,
which was the right move to keep Justin Herbert. So I think the hate on Justin Herbert goes a little bit too far, but that's another conversation. Gentlemen, great episode. That was exactly what I expected. That was awesome. Of course, we get the PY monstrosity of a list, and I expect more.
An amazing list.
I expect more of that going forward. I know John wants more. He wants us to do running backs. We'll see. It's either going to be running backs or wide receivers next week. So we'll see which way we go. But we've got more lists. We got positional rankings going forward. We got a lot of stuff during the summer for June and July leading up to training camp. So if you're tuning in, we appreciate it and keep doing it. We got a lot of fun topics that we will continue to discuss here on Eagle Stock. Again, we're brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel. Make sure you mention us for 10% off. Sorry, wrong one. And then make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and follow. We appreciate you guys for tuning in every single week. From myself, Chucks, for PY, for Brinks, and the rest of us as A2D Radio. Thank you for your time. We love you. Good night. Peace out. Go Birds.
Go Birds.